So this is also why many new graduates, we also see this in Europe as well. They prefer to work for budding startups rather than go get into consulting. If an entrepreneur has a global mindset, the first step is always a difficult step. I think first one needs to have an open mind to also think of understanding cross-cultural communications. Knowledge is not stagnant. Right?
Absolutely.
It keeps
Continuing.
changing.
Always,
Continuing. If you are able to get the right storytelling out there, and again, it differs. If you're talking about cross-border entrepreneurship, the same storytelling will not work.
It may not work. Yes, agree.
Yeah, so there has to be different versions of it.
Hello viewers, this is Professor Guru Prasad. You're watching GIBS IRE Talks Podcast powered by GIBS Business School, where we explore some stories of innovation, resilience and purpose. Well, I'm very happy to make this statement. India in the last decade has created a wonderful ecosystem for entrepreneurs, and I'm so very happy to see the numerous entrepreneurs coming out, and their journeys has been incredible. And globalization has been a cherry on the top, where people have developed entrepreneurial, I would say, global mindset to go beyond the national boundaries. And today, to deliberate something on the same, I have my very good friend from Belgium. And on behalf of all my viewers, let me welcome Mr. Abdul Raheem, who is a lecturer and also the head for global outreach from Anorp Management School, Belgium. On behalf of all my viewers, let me extend my heartfelt welcome. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure. Thank you.
How have you been?
Good. Bangalore is a beautiful city. It's my first time in Bangalore.
Okay.
Bengaluru. And I love the weather here.
I mean, that's the catchy point of Bangalore. Everyone who comes here says the same thing. They just fall in love with the Bangalore weather.
Yeah.
Unless you're not disturbed by the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic. I've been on the road quite a lot recently, and I've noticed the traffic.
Well, thank you for being part of the show.
My pleasure.
Before I get into the subject, I would love to know something about your past. Maybe can you recollect your school days, your college days? The reason I ask you this question is because I just want to know where your journey to the global outreach and the global academic forte, was it planned or how did it go?
So it was not planned.
Okay.
Never planned. I never expected myself to be in a situation or sit here, for example, and represent Anorp Management School. If I have to reminisce about my school days, if I have to go back to my school days, I was a naughty student. I was a backbencher.
I expected that.
I was a backbencher until grade 10. But after that, I got inspired by my brothers. They were doing better than me at school, and being the eldest of three younger brothers I have, I thought, okay, I should also get into getting better marks at school, and that's what I did. 11th and 12th were great, but I had so many plans, and I was easily inspired. For example, if I would watch a crime show, I wanted to become a detective. If I would see pilots at the airport, I wanted to become a pilot. But my parents wanted me to become a doctor because biology was a subject also I was good at.
Lovely.
If you look at my school mark sheet, biology was a subject that I would rank highly on.
That's good.
Until grade 11, where I decided to opt for a non-science
course. Okay. So that is more into commerce and business management?
Exactly, more into commerce and business management, because in those days, I'm talking about a few years ago, everybody was getting into science stream.
Right.
I wanted to be different. And
True.
This was also an interesting path for me because I have always believed that I'm a good communicator.
Lovely.
And I wanted to match that with business management and communications, hence also me doing a master's.
I'll get back to that point a bit later again, because viewers, please note he is also an award-winning public speaker. I would definitely love to get into that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I I did my master's in corporate communications from Università Cattolica in Milan, in Italy, and that was planned. That was the only thing that was planned because I wanted to match my communication knowledge or expertise with the communications in.
That was something that you developed from your school days itself?
Exactly.
Right.
My dad is a speaker,
Okay.
and he was my inspiration.
Lovely.
I would watch him on stage,
Wow.
and I wanted that power because when he would speak, everybody would be silent. Because nowadays, when you speak in like a friend circle, for example, you will notice that everybody interrupts you.
True.
Right.
True.
But when you're on stage, you have that power, and I wanted that, and he inspired me to become a speaker.
Wow. Great. We're now talking about, this is a beautiful platform that we have launched. I forgot to mention in my opening remarks, we have something called, as you can see, this tagline here, IRE, which stands for Innovation, Research, and Entrepreneurship. You will agree to this fact globally also, kids these days getting into their entrepreneurial journey, the cases has been rising than people exploring to the typical corporate jobs. Do you agree with this mindset which is happening around the world?
I agree. I agree with this, but at the same time, I believe that you need to be a little careful as well,
Right.
because the entrepreneurial journey is not an easy journey.
Very nice.
A lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, and I've been friends with them for a long time. I've seen them struggle, but they were persistent, they were resilient. But once they made it, then they look back at the journey, and they can only think that they made the right choice.
True.
So I am absolutely behind this. I think the more entrepreneurs, the more innovators, the more thinkers, the more creativity
Absolutely.
the country can get into.
And I feel being a business school, it's our moral responsibility to create or nurture tomorrow's entrepreneurs. And as I made my statement in my opening remarks, India has also given this wonderful ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem, where the processes and the other, documentation, whatever you call it, has been made so easy that also is a motivating factor these days for the young kids to get into their own businesses.
Yeah.
What, according to you, is all about developing entrepreneurial mindset? Because as you rightly said, it's you undergo struggle,
Yeah.
you see success, you see failure, everything.
Yeah.
What, according to you, is entrepreneurial mindset?
I think, in my opinion, and also from a little experience, because I do also have a small side hustle where I host events and moderate events. It's not full-fledged entrepreneurship, but I also have friends who are entrepreneurs, so I've seen them. And in my personal opinion, I think there are two key things I would press on. The first thing is having a global mindset. I think an entrepreneur needs to have a global mindset because, let's face it, in this globalized world, in this globalized economy, where everything is interlinked, intertwined, if you are going to start a product in India and your product is doing good, you're definitely thinking of scaling internationally. And that is only possible if you have a global mindset as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And when I say global mindset, I'm also talking about cross-cultural or cross-communication, cross-cultural skills as well, which is highly important because the audience are different outside of India.
True.
So, and the second thing I would press upon is persistence. Persistence. This is something we also see back in Europe. Many fantastic, talented students, entrepreneurs start their companies in incubator phase,
Right.
or they get really how should I say a lot of backing from investors to start their journeys. But at some point of time, they let go of their baby. They let go of their dream because not everyone is built the same, right? We're all built differently, but the most persistent ones are the most
Continue to
successful
stay.
ones. Yeah.
I agree with it. And global mindset is a bang on point that what you made. I find it a challenge here because they tend to develop businesses locally
Mhm.
and they do not want to expand globally,
I see.
even though there is massive opportunities, barring exceptions. There are many who, just explore anything that came on their way. How to combat these challenges, and how do you expect the young entrepreneurs to really take this gut to cross the national borders and get along with the new opportunities that come along your way?
That's a very good question, but I think we also have to look from the perspective of these entrepreneurs as
Mhm.
well.
Is that the same when it comes to the entrepreneurs from Europe?
Actually,
Meaning whether they have global mindset as well?
yeah, they do have a global
Okay.
mindset. So Europe, I think the entrepreneurs in Europe are a little luckier than the
Is
entrepreneurs
it?
in India
Okay.
because of the fact that Europe is in itself a continent,
Right.
and Europe itself has different cultures,
Right.
different countries.
Agree.
So they can expand, and it's all one regulation, one border, for example. Um, but thinking from the shoes of an Indian entrepreneur to expand internationally, you also look for affordable options from the foreign governments, for example, or what are the regulations, what are the taxes,
Mm.
and so on. If we have to talk about how to combat this, again, to go back to my previous statement, a global mindset, because if an entrepreneur has a global mindset, I don't think, and if he or they have a successful product that they think will be a hit outside the borders of India, in Europe, in US, in UK, then they should definitely go for it. Because there is a lot of space and need and wants of consumers outside India as they have the purchasing power as well.
True.
So if an entrepreneur has a global mindset, the first step is always a difficult step.
Correct.
First step is always the difficult step.
Agree.
When you look at it when you sit here and when you look at it, uh, you look at the regulations, you look at the paperwork, the bureaucracy. It's enough to make you take a U-turn and say, "I'm happy in India. I'm gonna do it over here."
True.
But when you take that step,
Absolutely.
when you make that leap,
Fantastic.
then things become easier.
Bank on point. I had a great discussion with you off the camera, and we spoke a lot about the communication and the cross culture. I think cross cultural is something that these entrepreneurs should be very highly aware of. You asked this question to the students as well when you interacted. What, according to you, is this the cross cultural understanding, this cross culture of a different entities, and what is the advantage that one entrepreneur gets because of this?
Yeah. So I think first one needs to have an open mind,
Mm-hmm.
to also think of understanding cross-cultural communications.
True.
And we talked about a globalized world, about a globalized economy, and even if you are somebody who has not left India or not seen the world, you've only always been in India, for example, you also deal with global people.
Correct.
Through your work, for example.
True.
You might be working for an Indian company, but let's say you're in IT, but you talk to someone who's sitting in the US.
Yes.
Or someone in the UK, and now the ones who are able to pull it off, the ones who are able to be successful or show results, are those who know how to communicate with someone who comes from a different culture, different background, and if you look at it from an entrepreneur's perspective, this is absolutely a game changer for an entrepreneur if he or she can manage to understand cross-cultural communication. But by the way, we are all learning because the world is quite big. The world is huge, and I've traveled almost half of the world. You have as well. We shared some stories backstage, and you will agree with me that wherever you go, you're always amazed by the culture, the traditions, by also how people say cheers in different languages, or
Yes.
like, for example, give an example, in some parts of Italy, you say chin chin, and then you put the glass on the table, and then you drink it.
And if I'm right in India, that's the other way around. You're not
Yeah,
supposed to keep it down. You should consume the first sip immediately after the cheers. I don't know. I'm a sober, but
well, I
I
learned
have the basic knowledge of it.
I did learn something new today. Yeah, I mean, I think you need to have an open mindset, Professor Rao. You really need to have an open mindset if you're really thinking about cross-border,
Yes.
being cross-border entrepreneur, and it's
How can we
definitely.
learn this well in advance?
Oh, now you have to look at the education system. To be really blunt,
There you go.
yeah,
That's right.
you really have to look at that because if your education system is very local, is close-minded, for example, and if it's not exposing the young generation early to international perspectives, cross-cultural communications, then it'll be a challenge for Indian entrepreneurs, definitely. Yeah. So I would actually look at the education system. I would actually look at when you plant a seed in the soil, you have to water it.
Right.
You can't just expect it to grow.
Absolutely.
So the water over here is the context of giving that seed, that child, whether it's a girl or a boy, doesn't matter, uh, giving them enough exposure from a very young age to understand and to know that they are not the only kind of persons or human beings in the planet. There's much more. There's
True.
much bigger. There's a bigger picture, and I'm pretty sure if they understand that, uh, they will definitely grow up to be people with open minds. And if one of them becomes an entrepreneur,
That's good. But sometimes I really get amazed when the Indian entrepreneurs makes wonders in countries which doesn't even speak English. I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs in Russia, China. Um, it always brings this question. I mean, they can't speak your language, and you're doing some amazing business over there. And do you also mean at times having the right people there also makes sense apart from these cultural and language barriers?
Absolutely, and luckily, when it comes to needs and wants,
Yeah.
language doesn't matter.
Right.
So these are smart entrepreneurs, definitely.
Absolutely.
Because they have assessed the market, they know what is lacking in the market, and they bring out a product. Because I remember attending an innovation and entrepreneurship class, and also Professor Robin DeCock from Anorp Management School. I remember him telling this, not sure to his class or to me, but he did say that and a smart entrepreneur is someone who assesses the market and creates something that people really want. They really want.
Right.
There's a space, there's a gap in the market that
Yes.
can be used. If you think of Uber, did we ever think that you just sit and you click and the car is here and
next
you're
door.
going to places? So there was a gap, and somebody thought about it, somebody did it. But coming back to the meat of your question, I do believe that yes, for a foreign entrepreneur to be successful in a foreign soil, for example, they do need the right people, the right support. This is why you will also see that many startups, especially when they're abroad, they are quite picky.
True.
And they do pick really, really top students from top schools, and they don't mind paying them the extra buck compared to corporates.
True.
Yeah. So this is also why many new graduates. We also see this in Europe as well. They prefer to work for budding startups rather than go get into consultancy like Deloitte or KPMG. Also, the ladder to get up the ladder is easier. And let's face it, there's politics everywhere. So there's less politics also here.
Part and parcel of the game.
Exactly. So yeah.
Based on your experiences and experiencing, meaning also seeing some real stories of people getting into the global domain for the businesses, what do you think the common mistakes the entrepreneurs do before venturing or after venturing the global market?
The most common mistake I've noticed is that they take it for granted. Um, they
They become complacent,
yeah, they become complacent, or should I say, too confident
right?
that their product, if successful
In the local market,
in the local market, is also successful in the international market. And this usually happens if the market research is not done well.
absolutely.
Yeah, so that I've seen many times actually. I've heard a lot of stories. Um, I also know people, and but you learn from your mistakes, right? But I believe this is the mistake you cannot afford to make, to be really frank, unless you're a multi-billion or multi-million dollar startup. But if you're a new startup, or if you're a small startup, and if you're still in the growing phase, you cannot afford to make this mistake.
You're saying research skills should be another important weapon that every entrepreneur should have, the market research skills.
Yes, or use the right tools. When
Right.
I say the right tools, use business schools,
Right.
use management schools, use the expertise that these schools have to offer.
Absolutely.
They have professors, they have researchers
Right.
who can help you, and these and the pay that you give these schools is much less compared to what you would give a consultancy, for example.
I agree with this, and a lot of my faculties from this institute are consultants to many of the firms here in Bengaluru, and they guide them on the research and strategies.
Yeah,
And that's the right advice, I think, what you gave.
absolutely. Because at Anorp Management School, we do the same. We
Mhm.
have something called CP, company projects,
Mhm.
and we also train employees of certain institutions. We have the knowledge that is up to date,
Mhm.
and part of that is because the professors that are working on this, they are also doing research, and their research is also keeps happening. And knowledge is not stagnant, right?
Absolutely.
It keeps
Continuing.
changing,
It's
it's
always, yep.
continuing. So definitely, I would. If this is the one mistake I've seen happen a lot,
True. Agree.
the too confident and not doing enough market research
Market research.
to get into a different domain, a global domain altogether.
Right. You were quoting the statement of global network when you were addressing the students, and you made it very clear to them that your network is your net worth. This should also be one of the key skills that an entrepreneur should develop if he wants to expand globally. The question is, how can he build it? How can he develop this?
I think, first of all, somebody else also asked me this the other day. Should an entrepreneur be an extrovert, or should he be an introvert?
Introvert.
It doesn't matter, really.
It doesn't matter.
It
Yep.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because an entrepreneur is someone, a real entrepreneur is someone who is very passionate about their product and what they have developed. And when you are passionate about your product, you don't have to be an introvert or an extrovert. You're just going to be
Absolutely.
passionate about it.
Yes.
So, for example, what I would do if I have a product tomorrow, I create something, and I want to, create my network. I would not wait for someone to come to me. I would be the one
To
extending
approach.
my hand,
Right.
because, and this is what many also do the mistake. They feel like if they do enough marketing, or if they do, word of mouth, that it's going to happen. It's not that. It's you, because as an entrepreneur, the product is there, but you are the god, if I should say, the god of the product, and you have to present yourself out there. You have to show yourself out there that I created something, and this is what I believe can help you
True.
in solving so and so. And let it be investors. Like if you look at these programs, Shark Tank, for example,
Yes.
and so on, they sit there and people come to them.
True.
And they talk about their product,
Yes.
explain their product, they look for investments. But if an entrepreneur sits at home and watches these shows and he or she has a fantastic product lying on the bed, nobody's going to know about it. So I would be, and if you're passionate about your product, you will definitely approach. You will definitely go out there and make a buzz about it, make a fuss about it, and make sure that people know about it.
So you mean to say it's not just about the products in the shelf, but also how the customers knows about those products which are in your shelf.
Absolutely. And who made them? That
Yes.
also matters. Storytelling. Storytelling is very important here,
Right.
and it's a key. If you are able to get the right storytelling out there, and again, it differs. Now, if you're talking about cross-border entrepreneurship, the same storytelling will not work.
It
For
may not
example,
work. Yes, agree.
yeah. So there has to be different versions of it. So definitely, yeah.
Lovely. Another important skill that any entrepreneur would need today is the communication skill. So before I wrap up this podcast, when I connected with you, I was so very happy to note you're also the award-winning public speaker. So take us through that journey to my viewers and how they can build this communication skills, like how you have developed overnight, and transform that into their results in terms of the business success.
Yeah. I really think that if you are a good communicator,
Half of the job is done.
half the job is done. Absolutely. Half the job is done. And to be really honest with you and with the viewers, the first time I went on stage, I believe I was 16 years old,
Okay.
and I was asked a topic: what is your favorite fruit and why? So my legs were shaking, I was sweating, and I said grapes, even though mango is my favorite fruit. And then my brain faded. I didn't know what to say. But then on, I took it as a challenge, and I worked on it. You're not born with this. Nobody is born with this kind of a thing.
True. Nobody.
Yeah.
Yes.
You either are passionate to become a better communicator. You don't have to become the world champion of public speaking, or I don't know. You don't have to become Barack Obama or something. You just have to be able to someone who can talk about your idea and pass it on to the next person in a clear and proper way. So for me, I really have to thank my dad, because he inspired me. He was a speaker, and I used to see him on stage, and that power he had for 7-10 minutes, putting across his idea, inspiring people. I wanted to have that power, and I'm glad I did it. He really helped me with this, and he told me something which will always be there with me. He told me, if you want to be a good communicator, you need to know one thing and one thing only. You need to know who is sitting across you.
Perfect advice. Absolutely.
Because what you tell me, he's speaking in first person now. My dad is telling me, what you tell me might not resonate with your mother. And it is absolutely true. If I tell my dad that, Dad, you cooked the chicken, it's very nice, but it's too salty, my dad will accept it. If I tell my mother the same thing, Mom, you cooked the chicken, it's too salty, she will get offended.
No doubt about it. That's a universal problem.
So to tell my mom, I would tell my Mom, you know how I make this chicken? I would make it with less salt. What do you think? So
You just said mom. Imagine if it was wife. Wrong topic.
I don't have the luxury of answering that question. Maybe you do, Professor.
And that's the reason I asked you that question.
But different communication skills. This is the one soft skill that is so important in today's world.
True.
It really sets you apart. It really.
Absolutely.
I'm going to make a big statement over here. If let us say you have a graduate from IIM Bangalore, you have a graduate from GIBS Business School. If somebody from GIBS Business School is a better communicator than the graduate from IIM Bangalore, I am going for the one from GIBS Business School. Eyes closed.
No matter which school you belong to.
Absolutely.
Yes. Finally, it's you.
Absolutely. Like we spoke to the students today,
Right.
In today's world, degree certificates don't matter as much as micro credentials and soft skills. So definitely. And you will also see that the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who are great communicators.
Communicators. Absolutely. Absolutely. Has your dad watched any of your speeches? Any of your sessions?
He has.
Yes?
He has, yeah.
That's lovely. I'm sure he's very proud of you now.
Yes, thank you.
You should share this podcast link to him as well.
Absolutely, I will definitely do that. Definitely.
Well, we are at the fag end of this quick, short interaction with you. There are thousands of budding entrepreneurs, the future entrepreneurs watching you. Any crisp, short message to them?
Absolutely. My one message would be to work on two things if you want to be a successful entrepreneur: is adaptability and resilience.
Yes.
Especially resilience, because you're going to go through a lot of challenges, and you're going to come across a lot of highs, of course, but a lot of lows as well. And what will define you as a successful entrepreneur is how you react during those low times. Are you resilient? Are you able to be adaptable? And are you able to move forward? So I would definitely say resilience.
Bang on. I'm very sure my students have made a note of this. Well, viewers, thank you so much. It was short, but I would say it was highly impactful. I generally keep our podcast ranging between 25-30 seconds because this is targeted to Gen Z, and their listening capacity. It's a era of reels. You might have seen the scrolling reels.
Yes.
It will take you around 30 seconds, but quite informative as well. But of late, our podcast has been quite successful. I'm so very happy to have hosted numerous experts like you, and have shared their knowledge and wisdom. And I'm sure with today's interaction also, they had a lot of takeaways. I would definitely love to highlight for you. You spoke about global mindset, need of the hour, communication skills, cross-cultural understanding, right? And developing resilience, creativity, and more importantly, the research skills, the market research skills. Stunning. I think the bang on point at the end, what you mentioned about the communication skills. If that you are mastering, half of the problems are solved, half of the work is done. So yes, I'm very sure you had a great takeaways from this wonderful interaction with Mr. Raheem. On behalf of all my viewers, let me thank Mr. Raheem for his time. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Pleasure.
It was such a pleasure hosting you. Don't forget to like and subscribe our social media platforms. So do follow us, GIBS Business School, GIBS IRE Talks Podcast. I also have a personal request. Please follow Mr. Raheem also in the LinkedIn. He has a tremendous journey, which is a lot of, a great learning for us by following him. I hope you'll do that. Well, this is Guru Prasad signing off at the moment, and thank you for watching.